Sam sat down, closed his eyes, and told himself he would meditate for 10 minutes. He made it to 43 seconds before he opened his eyes to check if his phone had buzzed. It hadn't. He knew it hadn't. He checked anyway. Sam wasn't trying to become a monk. He had just read that meditation lowers stress, and his job had been eating him alive for about 8 months. So he downloaded an app, picked the shortest session on the list, and figured this would be the easiest 10 minutes of his day. It wasn't. It was the hardest. The first minute he thought about his shoulders. Were they supposed to be back? Then he thought about the email he hadn't sent, then the meeting tomorrow, then whether he had left the stove on, even though he hadn't cooked anything that day. His brain wasn't relaxing. It was auditioning every unfinished thought he had, one after another, like it had been waiting for permission to finally speak. By minute 3, his leg was bouncing. By minute 5, he had opened his eyes twice, just to check the time, just to see how much longer he had to survive. He gave up at minute 7. Not because he was bad at meditating, because something about sitting still with nothing to look at was honestly unbearable. Like his own mind was a room he didn't want to be alone in. Here's the part that made him feel worse. He looked it up afterward, expecting to read that he just needed more discipline. Instead, he found something that reframed the entire thing. His brain wasn't malfunctioning. It was doing exactly what an overstimulated brain is built to do when the stimulation suddenly stops. There's a network in your brain called the default mode network. It's the system that switches on when you're not focused on a task, not sleeping, not working, just existing. It's responsible for the wandering thoughts, the replaying of old conversation, the mental to-do list that shows up uninvited. Under normal circumstances, this network turns on gradually, in quiet moments throughout the day. A walk, a shower, a drive with no podcast on. But most people don't have quiet moments anymore. Every gap gets filled instantly. A scroll, a video, a notification, before the default mode network ever gets the chance to switch on naturally. So when Sam sat down and removed every input at once, his default mode network didn't ease in gently. It surged, all at once, with nowhere to release the backlog. That flood of unprocessed thought isn't a sign that meditation isn't working. It's the withdrawal period. It's what happens when a system that's been running on constant stimulation suddenly has none. There's a second piece to this. Stillness without a task can register in the nervous system as a low-level threat. Not because silence is dangerous, but because your brain has learned through years of constant input that stillness means something is being missed. A message, a deadline, a problem forming somewhere you can't see. So restlessness isn't weakness. It's a nervous system that has been trained to associate quiet with rest. This is also why the research on this doesn't say it gets easier because you get better at emptying your mind. It says it gets easier because your nervous system slowly relearns that stillness is safe. Every session where nothing bad happens is evidence your brain collects, whether you notice it or not. So Sam went back the next day, not because the first session felt good. It didn't. But because he understood for the first time that the discomfort wasn't proof he was failing. It was proof his brain had been running without a break for a long time. And this was the first moment it had to actually catch up on himself. If 10 minutes of silence has ever felt harder than it should, that's not a personal feeling. It's a brain that's been asked to be on for so long that off feels unfamiliar. You don't fix that by trying harder in one session. You fix it the same way Sam did, by showing up again, even when the first few minutes still feel like too much. If you felt this exact thing and wonder what was wrong with you, there's nothing wrong with you. Your brain is just catching up. Next week, I'm breaking down why the same overstimulated brain makes it impossible to quit a job you hate, even when every part of you wants to leave. So subscribe if you want the science behind the things that feel obvious but never get explained. Have a good day. Thank you.